Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for being here today. Before we get started, please hop in the comments. Let me know that you're here, that you can hear and see me all right, that everything is working on your end. I want to make sure that everyone can hear and see me, is active here today before we dive in. So please do that. Also, feel free to let me know where you're tuning in from, something you're excited to learn today, maybe how you heard about Spotlight. And if you're watching on YouTube, if you've seen some of our past events, also want to call out a couple things before we dive in today. Please go check out our past events, both the events we've done with creators, and in the last few weeks, we've really been trying to hone in and provide you with resources and actionable tools to take your passion and business online and develop your coaching and course products, as well as just using Teachable to build your online presence. I hope you've been tagging along with some of those events. If you haven't, you can go to spotlightapp.io to see past events, or if you're watching on YouTube, you can also go watch all of those past events. Just go to the Spotlight channel, hit videos. There's a playlist as well called Spotlight Creator Tips, or just the tips for creators, where all of these events are collected. I just want to see, yes, we got a few people in here tuning in from Tennessee, able to hear and see me. Awesome. And I also just wanted to call out real quick, if you don't have a Teachable account yet, I'll be saying this a few times, but it's completely free to get started. There is a link in the description to do so. And we've walked through everything you can do in the past few weeks with a Teachable account. But even if it's just building a website and creating a lead capture form so you can start growing your audience, all of that is possible with Teachable and possible with the free account. I just want to check in. Heck, yeah, we got people from San Francisco, from Tennessee, from Milwaukee. Susan, it is awesome to see you here again today. I also just wanted to call out real quick that yesterday we dove all into social listening, how to source your course topic if you're not sure exactly what you want your course or coaching products to be about. So I'm going to reference a couple of those things today as well. But if you need any more help, make sure to go check out yesterday's event. And I also want to call out that tomorrow we are going to be sitting down with Terry Rice, who is an accomplished creator and consultant and has built a thriving online business using Teachable as part of his business ecosystem. And we're going to be talking all about using social listening to help guide your products by letting your audience tell you what they need, what problems they have, and then using that information to create real solutions. Excuse me, give me 1 second. I'm going to have a drink of water while everyone continues to tune in here. All right. So today, I am so excited to dive in. Today, we are going to be talking all about building your curriculum. So, you likely have a Teachable account, or you've started playing with the idea of building an online course, but you're struggling with building curriculum. Building curriculum is one of the most difficult parts of building your online course. It can be one of the most lengthy aspects of doing so. But today, I'm going to share with you some tried and true strategies for building curriculum and getting paid along the way while you do so, using coaching and online events like this as a method for doing that. Um, and oh, real quick, I just want to call out, Jamie is asking, do we record these presentations? Yes. If you have to get up away from the computer or anything like that happens today, I'm moving fast. All of this will be available as a replay. It'll be on YouTube, and it'll also be on the Spotlight event page, as well as emailed to you if you RSVP'd for the event. So nothing will be lost today. It's a joy to have you all here live. But if you have to get up and leave, that will be there for you. And also, if you are watching the replay, hop in the comments as well. Let us know if you have any questions along the way. And for everyone watching live, ask any questions you might have during the presentation. I will do my best to follow along and answer them as we go. But if I don't get to them right away, I promise I'm not ignoring you. I've set aside some time at the end where I can address all of those questions. So if I don't get to it right away, just drop it in there again at the end, and I'll try to get to all of those questions. So let's dive in and talk about building your curriculum the smart way and getting paid while you do it. So, if you're anything like me, a few years ago or recently, you've seen that people are growing successful online businesses, teaching what they know, teaching their passions, and building course and coaching products to do so. And somewhere along that line, you probably thought, well, I can do this. I can build an online course. I know things, I know how to solve problems people have. And you set out to do so, but pretty quickly you realize that there's a lot of roadblocks in the way right away. You likely lack clarity. So, right off the bat, you're excited and you set out to teach everything you know about everything in your industry. You bite off a little more than you can chew, and you're looking at a curriculum that could take years to teach someone. Likely you don't have a lot of time between your day job and the side hustle you're starting. There's just no time to build an extensive and transformative curriculum. Likely also you don't have a huge budget. You're simply not in possession of the extra cash to hire a virtual assistant or a video editor to help you develop all of these things, because really no one should do this completely alone. There are people for hire that can help you along the way, but you just don't have the money to do so. And likely you don't have real help. We at Spotlight are trying to help you along the way, but most likely your friends, your family, your coworkers, they either don't have the time or the money or the expertise to help you build your course. So, just want to hop in, make sure that I'm catching everyone in the comments here. Um, Jamie, you're asking if the curriculum we're talking about is business to customer or business to business. Both of those can be worked in with these systems. I'll talk a little bit about both, so stick around. We'll address all of that. And the 99th percentile, love that username, is asking, you've missed other previous lives. Yes, they are all available on replay on the YouTube channel and at the Spotlight website, spotlightapp.io. So let's keep going. I want you now to repeat after me, if you've experienced any of these roadblocks or hangups, that there is a better way to do this. And there's always a better way to do this. So let's dive into kind of what that looks like. What if I told you that there was a way to build your online course curriculum where you can crowdsource your topic? You can use your audience, no matter how small, to guide your course topic and the transformation that you're going to promise to your audience. You can build your curriculum as you go, alongside developing your coaching business and your other products. And you can adapt as you grow. Nothing is set in stone. You can always refine your curriculum to serve more people as your audience grows. And you can always update your course and coaching products to better serve your audience as you learn more and more about what your customer needs. And the best part, what if I told you you can get paid along the way, that you could get paid while you develop your curriculum and build your course the whole time to give you that money you need, either just to compensate you for your time or to get that little seed capital, no matter how small it is, so you can invest in a video editor or a virtual assistant to help you actually build your final product. Well, this is not anything wildly new. It's been done before by creators like Pat Flynn, Tommy Griffith, Terry Rice, who we're talking to tomorrow, Terry Igioma, who's one of Teachable's most successful creators. These methods and these tips and tricks I'm going to share with you, they're not brand new. They're tried and true, and all successful creators use them. They may seem out of reach when I'm talking about big creators like this, but the reality is these methods are ideal for everyone, from your very first course all the way through in a cycle to when you're building large courses and serving a large audience. So, where do you start? what does this look like? Just a little outline of kind of the framework we're going to talk about today. And once again, this is a cyclical framework that you can use for every course you develop and you can use throughout your business's life to continue to create curriculum and develop your products the smart way. So, the four things you're going to have to do in order to do this: first, you're going to have to find the problem. You're going to use social listening to source the problems your audience struggles with. Once again, yesterday we went in depth. I'll go a little more in depth in a second into this, but if you want a full walkthrough of what social listening is and how we use it to make informed decisions and discover the transformation that we want to promise our students, the event yesterday went deep into all of that. Next, you got to find your first students. This can be intimidating and tricky at first, but you can use your email list, however small. You can use Facebook groups, Instagram, flyers, libraries, boots on the ground, whatever it takes to get those first 5 to 10 customers. You're going to have to work a little harder to get them, but they will prove to be the most valuable asset your business can have when you're taking your coursing and coach your course and coaching products online. That first group of customers is going to be your most loyal, and proving that transformation for them is going to be critical to developing powerful curriculum, not just having an online course, but curriculum that can really change lives. Next, you're obviously going to need to solve their problem. So once you found the problem and you found the students who have that problem, you're going to need to fix it for them either in one-on-one coaching or in a small cohort. You're going to build a short-term program to achieve that goal and prove its value and the transformation that you're promising. And we'll get back to this, but most importantly, throughout the entire process, you are going to collect and adapt. Collect and adapt. You're going to record everything, whether it's videos or text, and you're constantly going to ask those first students for their feedback. Don't be afraid to ask for feedback, and don't be afraid of the feedback. Everything your students tell you is valuable. It doesn't mean that your students are the expert or you have to listen to everything they say, but you want to provide the opportunity to collect that information all along the way. So hop into the comments. Let me know if you're with me, if this is making sense as a framework. We're about to dive into each one of these topics and how you can start using them right away. So let's start with finding the product. First, couple methods. Again, we talked about this in depth yesterday, but just to give you an overview of kind of the social listening aspect, you know your industry, you know your passion, you know you want to build an online course, but really finding a topic that captures your audience and proves transformative should be a process we do not in a vacuum, but as part of our community. So, the first thing to do is reflect a little. What are problems people have asked you to help them with and solve in the past? That's a great place to source. If there's a trend, if lots of your friends or family or coworkers continue to come to you and ask for your help on something, you're already seen as an authority about that topic. So, take a moment to reflect right off the bat. Excuse me, is there a trend in the things your community asks you? What problems are they asking you to solve? The next step is to reach out. Ask your audience, friends, families, coworkers what problems they face. So are if you're like I'm an audio engineer and music producer. So I went out early on and I noticed that people kept asking me how to do certain things. Then I went to that community and I said, "Hey, would you take a course or would you attend a webinar? Or would you want to do one on one coaching if I could solve that problem for you?" Proves to be extremely helpful in refining exactly what the topic is going to be and the transformation that you're going to focus on for your students. If all of this talk I'm saying about transformation is new to you, it's going to come up in just about every event we do. We have a whole event that we did focused on transformational copy, but transformation is the key. I'll get into it a little more later, but stick with me here. The next thing you can do is search. Search the spaces your ideal audience occupies, Facebook groups, hashtags, Reddit threads. So look for the communities and places where your audience already is. It doesn't have to be your audience, and see what problems they have. And if there's products out there that are giving them solutions that you can use as a model for your own. We don't have to be afraid to use other people's work to guide our own, and we also don't have to invent the wheel. So if someone's out there offering a powerful transformation that you could adapt and use for your own purposes, use that as a blueprint. Learn from other people's mistakes. And the last piece of advice is whatever topic you choose, whatever problem you find, whatever transformation you want to promise to your students, try and reduce it and keep it simple, especially in this phase. As you build your curriculum, you can make it bigger and bigger. But right now, we're looking for bite sized little chunks, tiny little problems where we can have quick wins with students as we develop our overall curriculum. So make sure to hone in on the small and achievable goals, something that could be tackled in a month or two max with one on one coaching. Peter, this all sounds great so far. Alchemy with Ella. Awesome. So happy to have you all here. Keep hopping in the comments. Let me know if this is resonating, if you're following me, if you have any questions. I want to make sure that everyone is with me throughout every aspect of this. So, after we find the problem that we're going to solve, and I guess let me go back just to put this a little bit into perspective for my own business. Like I said, I'm an audio engineer and a musician. And early on in the pandemic, I had a lot of people, a lot of musicians I knew coming to me asking if I could help them learn to record themselves. And I realized this was a trend. I asked people. They generally said, yes, I would love to take some online courses from you or have some one on one help. So I found the problem. The problem was that musicians were looking for a resource to learn how to record high quality music and produce their own tracks so they could send it to an engineer and have a very high quality production all the way through. So just wanted to give an example of honing in on a problem so it's not just out here in the ether. So once you find your problem that you're going to solve, you find those bite-sized chunk problems that you can easily solve in 1 to 2 months of working with someone, you need to find your first student. So right away, look to your peers, those people who have asked you in the past if you could help them with that problem. Ask them if they would be interested in a more one-on-one approach or more resources, if they would attend or pay for webinars with you. You're basically saying, I'm going to offer these kind of little resources. We'll talk about a couple ways to do it. And they're paid, but it's going to be fairly affordable. And would you be interested? So start with your peers. Ask them if they're interested in any sort of mentorship, whether it's cohort based or one on one. After that, you can reach out a little further, ask your community, present the problem that you're going to solve and the transformation you're promising, and see who responds. Keep it as a test and test different spaces. So maybe rephrase your problem to different communities. Your email list might be one version, your Instagram might be another, and don't be afraid to be a little repetitive. It's common for beginning creators to feel like they're spamming their following. But the reality is, at least on social media, there's a small percent of people who see most of your posts. So go out there for a week and post Instagram stories, Facebook stories, email people you know, and just ask if there's anyone out there who has this problem and if they would be interested in your solution. Last, or not last, but next, you need to be really clear. Present the problem and how you're going to solve it clearly. Make it easy for them to say yes. I'll give you a cut and paste tool in a couple minutes here that you can use in situations like this. So you're not just starting over with every new person you talk to. But remember, you need to be really clear about what the problem is you want to solve for them and the ask, because ultimately, with your first group of students, we are asking a little more from them than people in the future. We want them to give us testimonials. We want them to give us feedback. We want them to be a little more involved than your average customer might be. We're also going to be working on our curriculum, so things might be a little more in the rough. We want to set those expectations. We're asking people to be part of the creation process, and we can solve their problem at the same time. But we're also asking for an investment. We're asking for their time. We're asking for money, however small, right? We can be doing $5 webinars. We can be doing, $80 coaching sessions one on one. Make sure to value your time. I highly recommend that you're not offering this stuff for free because we all deserve to get paid. And that's part of what we're talking about today. And you also should be promising a transformation that's worth paying for. The last thing is just encourage them to share. So, with anything, and again, I'll give you a cut and paste way to do this, but with any of these asks, if you're saying, if you're interested in this, please let me know. And also, if you know anyone who might be interested, forward this to them. You would be surprised how well this works. And you don't have to do it, but if you're not doing it, you're missing a major opportunity to grow your community. Now, like I said, with these first students, we are asking for an investment from them. It's their time, it's their money. And although we're offering a transformation, we have to be conscious of these first students because they are super valuable. We want to make sure that we serve them really well. And so here's a little tip when you're going out to ask for that initial investment. This is kind of an equation you can use to think of this initial investment. So, for anyone you're asking, they're going to be thinking, okay, my investment can be summed up as being the sum of the outcome you're promising, the transformation you're promising, divided by the amount of time and money that it takes me to accomplish this. So, people want big results quick and fast. That's the reality. That's the world we live in. So when you go out and ask people for this initial investment, you have to make it worth it. So if you're asking people for a lot of time, if you want them to give written feedback, if you want them to be present, if you're doing daily meetups or stuff like that, well, then you're probably gonna have to ask them for a little less money. If you're asking for less time, maybe it's a commitment only once a week or once a month, you can ask for a little more money because they don't have to do a lot, but that means likely you're doing the rest. And the smaller the outcome you're promising, which I know I said make it small, and we should be, but just keep in mind, the smaller the outcome, the smaller the transformation, the less time and the less money you can ask for. So, I don't want you to get obsessed with this equation. This isn't a pricing calculator for your final products or anything like that. I just want you to keep this mindset that when you're trying to get that initial cohort of students that are really going to help you develop your curriculum and be in it with your business from the beginning, that you have to keep the investment you're asking for them in mind, make it palatable, and ultimately make it worth it. So, I have a group of students going through a beta version of my course right now, which is a whole nother event we'll have, but it ties in. When I reached out to them, I really had to say, okay, it's going to cost this much. I'm asking for a lot of time from those people because I'm building a rather large course and I really wanted to help them out. It's a tricky subject. So I'm not asking for a lot of money, but that in the end makes it worth it for them. So keep that investment mindset in mind when you're going through this. It is an investment for these initial students. It's a little heavier than future students. So just be kind and be clear what that investment is and focus on transformation. And especially in these early stages, focus on one transformation, just one little thing. So I think I gave this example in a past event, but if you're a mechanic and you're building an online course all about how to fix and maintain your car so you can save money, on actually going to the mechanic, I really hope someone builds that course, by the way, because I think it would be a good idea, but I can't do it. But don't try and workshop your course or build your curriculum with events or coaching products that are how to fix your car. Focus on something small. How to change a tire, how to change your spark plugs, how to test a battery. Focus on one small transformation and make sure that you can promise your students that before you're coaching, won't be able to do this, but after, they'll be the kind of person who can change a battery, who can change a tire, who can do these. So every time you build a coaching product or host an online webinar or anything like that, or you're teaching a class directly one-on-one with a student, make sure that you have a clear, singular transformation that you can promise and deliver on within that session. Okay, so a lot of information right there, but hop in the comments. Let me know if you're with me, if you have any questions, if this makes sense so far. I know that was a lot, but ultimately, when it comes to getting your first group of students, be flexible, be persistent, go out there, throw yourself out there. It may feel a little awkward at first, but again, if anyone has ever asked you to help them solve any aspect of your industry, you have problems out there that you can solve and you can promise real transformations. So here is a cut and paste tool that you can use when you're reaching out to new students. Feel free to screenshot this. Feel free to come back in the replay and write this down. But if you're building an email or a text to send to people, to students who you think might be part of that initial cohort, here's a tool you can use. I am helping blank who blank become blank in blank amount of days, weeks, or months. I want to call out that I got this is adapted from a tool that Tommy Griffith uses. So he is a powerful force. We've done past events with him all about getting your first students. So please go check those out as well afterwards. But let's look how this would play out for my own brand. So I am helping passionate musicians. That's my target audience. I want musicians who really care about creating quality music, who struggle to produce professional quality music, become skilled and confident producers in 2 months. That is my transformational promise. And that is what I am sending to prospective students to try and get them in my initial cohort. These are the students who are going to help me develop my curriculum. So I want to back up and hit this one again. I am helping insert your audience, who insert the problem they're dealing with, become the transformation you're promising in X amount of days. This plays out to look like I am helping passionate musicians who struggle to produce professional quality music become skilled and confident producers in 2 months. I hope this is a powerful tool for you. It makes it super easy. It's one sentence, maybe two if you have a little longer, but you can easily put this into an email, a text message, or any form on your social media as a story or a post. And make sure to include the tagline. If that sounds like you, let's work together. And if this sounds like someone you know, forward this to them. Don't forget this tagline. This can immediately grow your community and your audience. Half of the people in my beta group didn't come from my own community. It came from people sharing or other instructors that I know sharing these initial transformational requests with them. So really, really, really add this tagline in. It makes a huge difference and it widens your potential audience massively, especially when you're starting out just looking for those first 5 to 10 students. Okay, so once you have that first 5 to 10 students, the next step is you have to fix their problem. So, how do you do this? Start with the basics. What are the prerequisites for embarking on their transformational journey? Think about the little bite sized chunks, the little tools they need, the little problems that they need to solve before they can embark on the full giant transformation you're going to offer down the road with your bigger products like a full online curriculum or course or stuff like that. Then build from there. Make each session that you do, if it's private coaching, if it's a online webinar, kind of like today, or if it's like cohort sessions, like Zoom sessions, stuff like that, make each session a tangible step in the right direction. Keep it feasible, keep it real. You want the little wins. The sooner you can get people winning and working towards those transformations or having little transformations along the way, the sooner you're going to be creating a really, really powerful and loyal base of initial students. The next thing you can do is foster engagement. Don't just lecture. Set aside time in your coaching or webinars to engage, inquire, and let your students educate each other. So, work in opportunities for students to say maybe how they learned something or how they're processing. After you teach something, ask your students, so what does that mean to you? So, do you see how you can use that? Is there anything I missed? It's valuable to be vulnerable, especially in this stage, because every time a student tells you how they process, how they learn, how they would go about something, or how they're going to use the information you give them, that is a massive, invaluable opportunity for you to learn more about your potential impact and incorporate it into your curriculum. The last thing is make it fun. Obviously, it depends on your community and your audience, but just about everyone I've ever met in my life wants to have a good time. And when you are asking for that time and money investment from your first students, you better make sure that it's a good time and that they're learning and having fun along the way. All right. So I just want to see, is everyone with me? Are you following me? Does this kind of make sense as we break down this process? Um, Oh, awesome. So Jamie is asking a great question. How does an online course differ from an online boot camp in terms of scale and cohort and depth of interaction? So, a great question, Jamie. There are a ton of different ways to structure your courses. You can do cohort based courses. You can do just a pre built course for students to walk through. You can offer communities for students to help engage and all of that sort of stuff. As far as your final course with your curriculum and everything like that, however that looks, it's up to you how you end up building that. But for this, we're talking about one-off events. We're talking about private coaching. Again, at most 1 to 2 months of working with these students, and you don't have to build a course to do so. So I'm thinking like Zoom sessions, even if you can do it in person, meeting up at coffee shops. You can do working sessions where you're just available live to help people. Think small and think about stuff you can fit into your existing schedule. We're not focused on a whole course curriculum yet. We are building all of the content to put into a curriculum. So I hope that answers your question. Let me know if there's anything else you need there. So, just to give you an example at how this kind of curriculum might look, from saying fix their problem, I want to tell a little story here. So, I had a customer recently reach out to me to help engineer a podcast. And in the process of doing that work for them, they were asking if I would be willing to coach some of their podcast producers on some of the methods and tools that a successful podcast coach should have. So I think it was Jamie who asked her maybe, but business to business. This was a business to business interaction, but I want to show you how easy it is to pull curriculum out of these interactions. So on the phone with the customer was saying, oh, I want this is what I love. This curriculum here that I am using as an outline to build a podcast production course came directly from that conversation. So the customer was saying they want their podcast producers to be able to source an audio engineer to work with, to be able to build a relationship with that audio engineer. They want to be able to have good communication and clear expectations. They want to know how to spot the red flags if there's an audio engineer that maybe isn't a good hire. And then they also want their podcast producers to be able to prepare sessions for an engineer. So how do you practice? How do you build your sessions so that they're easier to share? How do you export audio? How do you prepare your session files for an engineer? And then all the best practices for transferring files. So just a little sneak peek of what this curriculum can look like. This literally was written down while I was on the phone with a customer who had a problem that was a business that I'm working with. So we're really starting to flex and develop this muscle that curriculum doesn't have to be something you work in a vacuum. It can be an interaction, it can be a plan that you have. I am now testing this curriculum by working with those podcast coaches. So I'm getting paid to coach these podcast producers. And in the process, I'm developing the curriculum. So just a little sneak peek. But next thing we have to do is collect and adapt. Just like I was saying with that phone call, I'm taking notes, I'm sourcing the problems, and I'm using that to build the curriculum. So, first off, with this initial group of students, you need to cultivate trust, create an atmosphere where students feel comfortable sharing. So, once again, work into your sessions, into your coaching, the opportunity for students to say, if that made sense, how they're learning these things, ask them maybe how they would teach it differently, or if there's any additional resources they might need. Really, really lean on those students and provide the opportunity for them to trust you and that you trust them for their expertise as a student as well. So build in that feedback, adapt, keep flexible. If students are bored or they don't want to learn something, analyze why, ask them why, and update it. Change the way you're working. In that 1 to 2 months where you're working with your initial group or cohort, make sure to listen to them. Don't just take the feedback, but adapt, adjust, use it, and make your product better as you're going. And last but not least, document everything, record all video, ask for feedback in writing, keep notes, be diligent, just like I was on the phone with that customer, because at the end of the day, this is your curriculum. I can't stress that. This is your curriculum. Are you all with me? Hop in the comments if you let me know. But once you've taken these students through this full transformation, those recordings of those sessions, the notes you've taken in your coaching calls, all of the feedback, all of that information that you've collected, well, getting those students through that transformation and getting paid along the way to fix their problem, that is your curriculum. You have built your curriculum well, helping this group of people solve one problem, and they've helped you do it along the way, well, paying you to do so. So I cannot stress this enough. Make sure to document everything. So at the end of the day, you should have a clear problem. If there was any lack of clarity at the beginning of this initial group of students and you helping them through the transformation, you should now know exactly what that problem was. It should be a clear problem, a reasonable problem that your audience has. You should also end up with a clear solution. You'll have a precise and calculated way to solve that problem in a timely manner. You will, because you will work with these students until you have solved that problem. And once you have, you'll know how long that takes. You'll know the roadblocks. You'll know what students need to know before diving in. You will have a solution. And one of my favorite parts, you will have proof of value. This initial group of students, I'm getting excited, but it really is such a great way to do it, because by the end of these coaching sessions, by the end of this initial transformation with this initial group of students, you'll have testimonials that can go on your sales page when your course goes live. You'll also have a cohort of students who have already gone through the course. So, especially if they're willing, they're a resource that's available for future students should they want to reach out. Or if you offer a community, these are the old school students who already know all the ins and outs of the course, all the trials and tribulations, and can help those other students. And more importantly than anything, you'll have champions who will stand out and promote your product, whether you ask them to or not. If you really go out and solve this problem for this initial group of students, they're going to tell other people because people like to talk, and word of mouth at the end of the day is still one of the most powerful ways to grow your audience and get new students. So don't underestimate this. It is so hard to launch a course when you don't have any testimonials and you haven't worked people through the curriculum. But when you've already done all of that, when you go to build your sales page, when you go to start promoting, you have recordings of people saying what the course has done. You have recordings of people saying what it was like before the course and after the course, proof of that transformation, proof of value. It is there. You're sitting on a marketing gold mine, and you don't have to wait for that first student to come in before you have anyone to prove that the system works. And then the best part, right, is money in the bank. At the bare minimum, you've gotten enough money to cover your time and the expenses you put into doing this online coaching. So you should be making at least minimum wage for all of these sessions that you do, right? But if you're only asking for $5 to $10 from people here and there, but you got 5 to 10 students, that should at the very least cover your time. And depending on how exactly you structure it, if you ask for a little more from your students, a little more money, you're offering a little more. The problem you're trying to solve is one that's worth a little more. You might even end up with a little extra money. That's investment capital. So now, when you have that curriculum, but you have to go and put it all into Teachable and build a course, you might have a little extra cash. So you can hire a video editor. That video editor might even be able to take existing sessions you already did with those students and cut them into lessons. You can hire a virtual assistant to help you build additional PDFs or help you write the copy, help write transcripts for all of the video. You might have that little extra bit of money that you didn't have in the beginning that really makes this all feasible because you are busy as well. So, this is one of the big reasons I was so excited to do this event, is because not only are you building a loyal base, not only are you proving the value, and not only are you refining the problem and the solution for yourself, but you are collecting at least payment for your time and maybe even a little extra money that you can invest into building a really powerful, transformative online course curriculum. All right. So, once again, hop in the comments. Let me know if this is all making sense, if everything is vibing with you. In a second, I want to dive into Teachable and just show you how easy it is to create a coaching product. You can actually sell coaching through Teachable, and you can make it really easy for students to sign up. So you don't have to be emailing or texting them directly. You can say, if you're interested, you can go to my Teachable page and or to my Teachable website. You can sign up for the coaching there. Everything will be kept within the Teachable ecosystem, which also makes it super easy to move on in the future. So I do want to take a second and just make sure that I'm answering any questions. Okay. Okay. Cool. It seems like everyone is with me and we're vibing. All right. All right. So let's. Oh, and Raymond, I love this. I can't wait to reach out to my first identified small core cohort. Raymond, I can tell you from experience, it is so rewarding, and it may be intimidating at first. And you may feel a little imposter syndrome, but the minute you start having an impact, the minute students start having a growth process and you start seeing that, you really start recognizing how valuable this information can be. And you start feeling almost an obligation to get out there and share this information and really help those initial students through their transformation. So yeah, let's dive into Teachable. I'm going to show you how you can create a coaching product, what that looks like, where you direct people if they're going to purchase that coaching product, and a couple other of the features within Teachable that make this process so much easier even before you're ready to build an online curriculum, but just in this development stage. So, if you're in your Teachable dashboard, you can see on the left underneath products, there's two options. There's courses and there's coaching. To create a coaching product, it's super simple. You just click coaching and click a new coaching product. It's going to have you name it and then fill out the additional steps. I can show you real quick. I've already created this coaching product. This is the coaching product that I use to collect initial students. It's where I send my cohort students in the beta testing program. So you can name your product, you can make a nice little image for it. You have the ability to input you and your bio. And then you also have the ability to make custom sales pages for the coaching product. So we can look at those real quick. This is the sales page for my actual coaching product. You can see I have a little blurb about why we're here. I have a few different pricing options. So if students want to buy 3 of my coaching sessions, they'll get 1 free. I have an FAQ to help them out there. So it's really easy to build a beautiful, beautiful coaching product. The other beauty is you can actually filter students with a intake form. So if you want to make sure that students have a certain level of knowledge, or you want to get a little idea of where students are at, you can actually create an intake form. So before someone enrolls in your coaching program, they send that to you, and then you can approve that student or say, maybe this would be a better product. So you have the opportunity to make sure that a student is really going to fit their needs and your needs before you approve them for coaching. There's also templates available for milestones. You can regularly update your students from within Teachable when they reach a certain milestone, or if there's certain prices, or if there's certain opportunities or resources you're making available. Pricing is totally customizable. You can easily set up your pricing and start collecting payments all the way through Teachable. So you can start getting paid through Teachable, incorporate it all. There's great reporting for all of those payments. So once again, Teachable isn't just for online courses. You can build a website, start collecting leads, and start offering coaching right away as a means for developing your curriculum. Last but not least, here is your client portal. I've made sure that none of my clients are in there yet because I want to make sure you can't all just see their emails and the like. But you have a client portal where you can view all of your clients, what they're up to, what they're working on. You can offer coupons. So if someone is interested, but they're not quite vibing with the price you're offering, you can make a coupon and give it to them to make it a little more affordable. Also, a great sales model, which we'll talk about in later events. But all of the tools you need to start offering coaching as a means for building your course curriculum are there within Teachable. Once again, too, we've done events about this in the past, but it is super easy to build a homepage with Teachable. So if you go to your site and your pages, you can build a basic homepage that just says what your brand is, a little bit about yourself, show off your coaching or course products, ideally coaching products right off the bat. Coaching product is a great opportunity to test a different kind of things. So you can offer different versions of the coaching product and see what people are like gravitate towards. This is a great way to refine on what kind of the ideal topic or refine the ideal subject of your courses. And then last but not least, you can provide an intake form for leads so that if nothing else, if people are interested in future products or want to reach out to you, they can drop their email in, and that is a future student, a future customer. You can start collecting all of those leads. They show up in your users section of your Teachable page. You can export those leads into your CRM or your email service, add them to your email list. It's all built into the platform so that you can make it super, super easy to start building those coaching products and building your homepage before you even have a curriculum. So that's partly why I'm so excited by all of this, because I think a lot of people think that Teachable is just there when you already have a coaching product or a course product and you're ready with all your curriculum. But all the tools you need to take advantage of all the tactics I talked about today are already there within Teachable. You can get started for free. Once again, there's a link in the account, and you can there's a link in the description to start a free account. You can get started for free and play around with all of these things, develop your products, start getting coaching clients and collecting payments and getting paid while you develop your curriculum. It's also a fantastic place to start testing different topics, mini courses, all of these things we've covered in past events. Please go check out those past events because we really dove in. But it looks like I'm starting to get questions already. So please start dropping your questions in. We have a little more time where I can answer all of your questions. Also, let me know if this all makes sense, if there's a slide or anything you want me to go back to review. I know that I just threw a lot of information at you, but I want to reiterate that this is not just a get started framework. This is a framework that people like Pat Flynn use regularly every time they're building a new course. They'll get a small cohort to test curriculum. They'll walk that cohort through the whole curriculum, getting feedback and testimonials along the way. And then they will ultimately end up with an awesome curriculum that they can either already just drag and drop into Teachable as a course, or make the decision to invest a little more, refilm some stuff. But I really, really hope that this is resonating with you all, that you all see how this process is just a way, way better way to do it than to sit down one day and say, I'm going to build an online course. I know what people want, and do the whole thing in a vacuum. If you do it that way, you're not going to have proof. You're not going to have testimonials. You're not going to have students. And you're most definitely not going to be making money while you build your curriculum. So I have a couple questions coming in, and I just want to make sure that I can answer them. Let's get going into the Q&A. Drop any questions you have, and we'll wrap up in a few minutes here. But Susan Inspired Art was saying, is there a way to get testimonials on Teachable? Susan, let me know if you're asking, is there a way to display testimonials on Teachable? Or if you're asking, is there a way for people to submit testimonials on Teachable? If someone is enrolled in your Teachable school, you could have, I'll walk through this. So there's a couple ways you could collect testimonials. If someone is already in a course, uh, so I don't have it set up like this, but I want to give an example. You could have, say, one of your lessons be share and feedback. And any lesson you can enable. Oh, I need to go to one that has something in it. So for any lesson, you can enable comments. So you could just create a lecture or a lesson in a Teachable course that says, hey, if you're enjoying this mini course, if you're having a good time, please drop down, give me a testimonial, let me know what you think. You could also just email your users directly. So if you go to the email section, you have the option to email individual users, everyone in a course, or people in a coaching product. So you could occasionally reach out and say, hey, if you've been having a good time, if this has been working for you, please give me a testimonial. I would love to have that. I will say that is part of the initial investment you're asking from that early cohort of students. So set that expectation off the bat. By joining this early cohort, it's going to be cheaper than the main course down the road. But I am expecting testimonials from you. I've told everyone in my beta program that I am going to want written testimonial from them, a video testimonial, and also a sample of their work before and after. So that's part of that time investment I'm asking from them, why I had to dip the price a little, right? So if we go back to that equation, Let me find it on my slideshow. If we go back to that equation here, right? I put that testimonial as part of the time that the student is going to have to invest. So when you're making clear the expectations, make sure to make clear that you are expecting those testimonials from your coaching students. You can write that into your coaching products, however you want to do it. Or it's a great way if you're offering a coupon to a student. Say someone says, hey, your coaching is a little too expensive. Is there anything you could do? You could say, yeah, you know what? I'll give you 20 bucks off or $10 off, but I'm going to need a testimonial from you. So equally, this equation doesn't just weigh the investment for the student, it weighs your ability to judge what is fair to ask from that student based on the price and the outcome and the time it takes that student to give. So, Susan Inspired Art, I hope that helps a little bit. Let me know if there was some nuance to that you were wondering, but I hope that answers your question. One more from Susan Inspired Art. Please give a definition of a milestone. So in your coaching products, let me get there. A milestone could be a certain point along the process. Um, so if I'm going to pages here, oh, sorry for my templates. So a milestone could be as simple as, the first milestone could be, welcome, you're here. You've done the, this is like congratulations and taking the first step. You could have a milestone like after their fifth coaching session, they're supposed to have accomplished this transformation. You could have a milestone after every single coaching session you do. Milestones just serve as a integrated way into the Teachable platform to let your students know that they have accomplished a certain goal, to congratulate them, to let them know if there's anything they need to prepare for the next one. It's also an opportunity, again, to ask for feedback or testimonials. So think of it really as a way to communicate your students' progress to them and incorporate kind of those additional asks or requirements for your students along their coaching journey. I hope that answered your question. And let's keep going here. Raymond is asking, is building a teachable web page the same skill as building a homepage or sales page? Yes. So 100% the same skill. The page builder is the same across any page. So if you built a homepage like we did in some of our past event or a sales page, you can build any page you want in the Teachable School. You just go to your site section, pages, and at the bottom here where it says add a page, you can build a custom page for anything. Little tip, you can even build a link in bio page. We'll have future resources available. I don't want to give that away here, but you can build a page on your website to send people to with a custom domain, however you want it. Teachable is a comprehensive website builder, just like Squarespace. It has all of the same tools and features available. So any kind of page you want to build is there, and they all use the same page builder functions with blocks, and the way you edit and change those aspects is all the same. And the best part too is the branding that you set up in your site section is going to carry across all of it, so that all of the pages you build, you don't have to start from scratch. Those things look the same across all of those pages. All right. Yes. Susan Inspired Art. Collect and then display. Boom. That is, I hope we answered that. So, yes, using your emails, using the milestones, or using mini courses and products like that, you can collect testimonials from your students along the way. You should be collecting them along the way. I do want to encourage you not to get too hefty with collecting testimonials before you've achieved a real transformation. So, make sure to ask your students, like, do you feel confident? Can you do this yet? Are you feeling good? And if they say yes, then that's time to collect a testimonial. You've helped them through that. You've helped them through that transformation and everything. Jeffrey is also saying, I'm not 100% sure what exactly this is in a reference to, but could also embed an iframe and have a survey, something like that. 100%. You can put custom code into many places on Teachable. So if right off the bat it's not available, or if you already know a bit of custom code or need any help with that, you can add all of that stuff. There's people available on Fiverr and Upwork who know that stuff intimately. If you know what you want but don't know exactly how to do that, all of that is possible. um all right. It looks like everyone, I think I answered all of your questions. I know there's a bit of a delay with those, so I'm going to give a second to see if any more hop in. But please hop into the comments. Let me know if this helped. Let me know if it was clear, if this structure makes sense. Please, if you're confused about any of this, go back, rewatch the replay once it's there. You can screenshot any of this, you can use any of this. All of those like drag and drop phrases I gave you, feel free to use them exactly as they are. I want this all to be available to you so that you can start building your coaching business on your path to building your course business. Again, you don't have to build your course curriculum alone in a vacuum. You can do it with your first cohort of students. You can do it with one student. You just need a couple people that you can prove that transformation with, and it'll put you in such a better position, and you'll end up with the curriculum at the end of the day. So hopefully that all makes sense. If you're watching the replay, hop in the comments as well. Let me know if you have any questions. I will come back and try and answer all of those. And just want to call out a couple other resources we have. Once again, if you don't have a Teachable account, you can start completely free. The link is in the description. You can start playing around with all of these functions, get your coaching products set up, and start offering them to potential students. You can build a homepage with a lead capture form so you can start growing your email list and your audience and just representing your brand online. You can have a custom domain in there as well. So there are so many things you can do with Teachable aside from just your coaching products. Go watch our past events on YouTube to learn more about some of those things you can do with the product and start that account for free. There is no risk to get started and start getting familiar with the platform so that by the time you're ready to actually build your first full course or a mini course or anything like that, you are already familiar with the platform, how it works, where the various elements are that you need, and how to make it all look truly like your brand. And I also wanted to call out some of the other resources we have. If you go into the description, we have a link to a PDF that we at Spotlight made. It's called How to Sell Your Online Course. So if you already have a course, but you're having trouble getting traffic to it or selling it, I highly recommend downloading that PDF. It's free. There's no email gate to it. It's 100% just a resource there for you. It is hefty. It goes into detail about growing your audience, building your email list, different strategies for doing so, and then also how to sell your course, different methods for selling, how to work your social media. We also put links to multiple Spotlight events with specific sections of those events where successful creators are outlining those methods, how they use them, and how you can use them as well. However, if you are not yet already selling a course, I still recommend downloading that PDF. A lot of what we talked about today is in there, and there's also a ton of additional resources and videos you can watch to help you along your process so that by the time you're ready to sell an online course, you already know all of the elements you need. You already have the savvy to do it and launch a successful online course. Also in the description is a link to the Teachable Kickstarter program, along with the Teachable Challenge, where you could win $100,000 by September by selling your online course from Teachable to help kickstart your business. They are also doing a Kickstarter program with regular weekly cohort sessions, walking you through every aspect from starting from scratch with an idea all the way to having an online course available and selling. That Kickstarter program is active now, and there will be future cohorts happening as well. So you can sign up for that if you really want some active, hands-on help with this entire process. And there is also a link to a quick start webinar, which is a 40-minute webinar that walks through some of the more technical details that are offered on Teachable and how to actually get into some of those more technical aspects if you need a little more help with the nitty-gritty aspects of building and customizing your online school. And I also wanted to call out tomorrow's event. Tomorrow, we are going to be sitting down with Terry Rice, who is an incredibly successful creator, both with coaching and course products. We're going to be talking about social listening, how to use your coaching products to build courses. Terry has done everything we talked about in the last two events. So it's going to be a really, really valuable event. If you want to learn a little bit about how this actually all looks in the wild, and look and learn what it is for someone who's actually gone through this entire process. We're going to learn any tips and tricks he might have if you're just starting out, and also some of the lessons he's learned along the way. That event is at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be a short but really valuable conversation. So you can sign up for that event. You can RSVP by going to spotlightapp.io. There's a link to sign up for that event there. You can also like and subscribe to the Spotlight YouTube channel. Please do so if you had a good time here today. And make sure to turn on notifications. That way you'll get notified about every new event we're doing. We're doing more events next week that are going to dive a lot more into launching your online course. We're also going to be talking to another awesome creator, Leon Hill. We got a ton of awesome stuff coming up here. So make sure to sign up for the Spotlight email list. The link is below. You can also just go to spotlightapp.io so you get regular updates about these events and all of the resources we're offering to help you along the way. Once again, thank you so much for joining me today. It has been a total blast. I've been having such a good time hanging out with you all. You all ask such good questions. I love seeing your progress as you learn these things. Also, feel free in any of these events to share your Teachable School, your website, your Instagram, any of the places where you can be found. We love seeing who you all are and what you're up to. It is not only the products, but the community that we care about. And we want to make sure that you are all doing your business and building your business and coaching products the smart way and the right way. So please feel free to share them with us. We love engaging with them, sharing them, and seeing what you all are up to. It's been an utter delight spending this time with you. I'll see you tomorrow for that event with Terry Rice, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Talk to you later. Bye.